Academy of the Holy Angel, Ada Borup, public and parochial. Adrian, public and parochial. I wake up to the sound of the radio blaring in the kitchen. Aiken, public and parochial. WCCO, the good neighbor to the north, is announcing school closings. Albert Lea, public and parochial. It's also announced that Minnesota has just been hit with the snowstorm of the century. I'm only 9 years old, and this is already my third snowstorm of the century. I look over at my brother, who's asleep on his twin bed, identical to my twin bed, and when he sleeps, he looks so harmless, so innocent. I get a feeling of actual affection for him when he's out cold. I quick hop out of bed, grab my pants, and get back under the covers until they warm up. Alden Conger, public and parochial. In the kitchen, my mother is staring out the window at the new blanket of snow. She leans on one elbow, propping up a cup of coffee. Have they said Osseo? Not yet, she says. Well, I hope Orono, public and parochial. Oh, please, say Osseo, and I'm about ready to make a deal with God when Osseo, public and parochial, yahoo! No school, so long, suckers, no school, and it's a weekday and no school, and I'm not even sick. My mom says, looks like no school today, boy, don't I know it. Now she says you'll have more time to spend with grandmother. Oh, no, I forgot. Grandmother's visiting from Missouri, and granted, I don't see her very often, like maybe twice a year, and I do love her, I do, and I know I'm her favorite no matter what my brother and sister say, but this is a snow day. Come on, it might not ever happen again. I gotta be out in it. Something big is gonna happen, and I gotta be there when it does. Then I see grandmother standing in the hallway in her robe. Grandmother, public and parochial. She hugs me and says, you know, I have some things I need to do this morning. Maybe we can catch up during lunch. Oh, and I know I'm supposed to argue by the look on my mom's face, but I can't. And my brother and I fly out the door down to the hockey rink just as Paul Punchikar is shoveling off the last bit of snowstorm of the century. We choose teams, sing the national anthem, announce there's no smoking, drop the puck, and it is non-stop action. While the other boys glide about in hockey skates, I'm wearing my mother's figure skates, white with a ring of gray fur around the top. I love these skates because they have the pointy toes and I can beat anyone in a short burst to the puck. Besides, nobody had skates that actually fit. Hank and Frank had racing skates with really long blades. I mean, they were the first ones to the puck, but if they missed it, they had to keep going till they hit a snowbank and can turn around. And nobody had equipment either, like shin pads, so we had rules like no raises. Well, that rule lasted about 5 minutes. Besides, the penalty for no raises was basically a guy yelling, "Hey, no raises!" The worst pain I can remember as a kid was getting hit in the ankle by a puck, especially in white figure skates with fur on the top. And Pat Gilligan takes a slap shot from the point, and the puck, like an ankle-seeking missile, finds its bony target and whack! Ah! Then my toe catches and I fall forward, smashing my head on the hard ice. And at the point of impact, I feel a coldness sweep through my head until the world is framed in blue and there's a single high note and I want to throw up. My brother stands over me and gives me the magic words to take away pain. They're from an episode of Star Trek. He says, "Captain, a Vulcan would not cry out so, but it doesn't work. I'm in pain. I am in pain." And I walk home for lunch. My mom's made SpaghettiOs, my favorite, made by a real chef, Boyardee. But when I look in the bowl, my SpaghettiOs are doing this strange dance. And I tell my mother, "Mom, I feel sick." And she looks in my eyes, says, "Oh my God," and calls the doctor. I have a concussion, and I'm told I have to stay awake for 2 days or I might not ever wake up. I decide I will stay awake for Pat Gilligan, who is now dead meat. That night, my mom takes the first shift, and she reads me out of the storybook Bible, Moses after Moses after Moses, and then we watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and she explains the importance of Jim. Then we watch Johnny Carson, and she explains the importance of Ed McMahon. And through that concussion, I learned the importance of a sidekick, but I just wanted to sleep. Grandmother takes the second shift. Grandmother, I cry, I want to go to sleep. And she takes an Afghan and wraps me up. There, she says, are you comfy? Yes, Grandmother, but that could mean death. Then she tells me about growing up in Holland and learning to skate by pushing a chair along the canals. I say, that's how you taught me to skate, Grandmother. And she says, I know. Then she tells me about running away from home at 16 and going to the city. Grandmother tells me about becoming a flapper in the 20s, and in my delirium I imagine her arms going up and down really fast. Her hairdo is called a bob, and I imagine our neighbor Bob, who is bald and says he shampoos with Mop and Glow. She tells me about meeting Grandpa, how handsome he was, and my mother as a little girl. And by the time she got to me, the sun was coming up, and I hadn't died. That night, my family was watching TV, Gilligan's Island, the episode where the monkey is throwing the plates made out of explosives. And there was a fire in the fireplace, and Grandmother was staring into the fire with the same look on her face as when she was telling about Holland. Gilligan was on TV. Who is in the fire, Grandmother? I got to go to sleep that night. Sleep. School tomorrow, I don't even care. My brother crawls into his twin bed. Good night, Steve, I say. Shut up, he says. It's okay. In a couple of minutes he'll be out cold, and I'll love him again.